frozen out. Hello, I am the Irish guy, and I know we're only a few weeks in. But right now, you can already spot the one player who's probably freaking out about his future. Because today, I'm going to find the best player in every Premier League squad, who the manager has clearly made their mind up about already, and who now really doesn't want to pick them. And some of these players are really unfairly out in the cold. It's weird. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Ben White. I know Ben White was given a rare start at right back for Arsenal in the Champions League the other night, so I don't want to sit here and say that he's completely frozen pizza. I'm not going to say that Mikel Arteta neglects him so much that he doesn't even wish him happy birthday on Facebook. I'm not sitting here now saying that Arteta hates White to such a degree that he instructs the chefs to serve him a squirrel's tongue for lunch. No, but I just feel a little bit sorry for the guy. Sure, I mean, White has already said he doesn't actually care about football and that this is just a job, but still, he's only started one Premier League match this season, and I really don't think Mikel wants to even squeeze him into the back four. I'm sure this is not a personal vendetta against Ben. It's just that Julian Timber has been fantastic. I don't think Mikel overnight has decided he hates the player because he saw him driving over puppies with his car. No, nothing like that, but let's be honest here. White's career is in the mud. He's gone from someone who made headline national news when he stormed out of an England camp. I mean, not to a Roy Keane level in 2002. Nah, it was more like when someone popular got voted off X Factor in its peak. Seriously, he probably had his local butchers begging him to come back when they were handing him a steak. He was a first choice right back for Arsenal. But now, he really doesn't play. And Thomas Tuchel has probably already deleted his number. Ben White has about as much chance of going to the World Cup as Snow White. Seriously, there's about as much chance of him being in America as there's of me getting married to a Smurf. And to add insult to injury, White is a centre back. That's his best position. He needs to quit in January. Go find an Everton or an Aston Villa or a West Ham where you can actually go and excel in your natural position. Don't forget, this is a £50 million defender who played every minute of 30 Premier League matches in a row as a centre back for Arsenal when he first joined. But now, Arteta seems to trust him less than I trust a morbidly obese mum not to burp on a plane, especially when he cracks out the jumbo multi-pack of Monster Munch the minute the wheels go up. She stunk of onions, pickles and divorce. Aston Villa, Jadon Sancho. Look, part of me desperately wants to chuck Pau Torres on the list because somehow this fantastic Spain international centre-back has lost his place at Aston Villa. Seriously, he's only in the team right now because Tyrone Mings' body once again broke down, which is hardly a surprise considering his muscles are no sturdier than cheese string, but it was bizarre to see Unai Emery bench Torres for a month. I'm confused. I mean, was the Spaniard caught doing something weird in the milk? Whatever the reason, it's a little odd to see him squeezed out of the team. But no, the closest star to being a completely frozen turkey dinosaur at Villa. Oh, the answer is Sancho. It is Jadon Sancho, the former £85 million Bundesliga star. I think we can see by now, this was a board signing for Villa, not an Emery signing. Is that any secret though, considering Monkey's been shoved out the door? Yeah, Sancho's only played 8 league minutes so far, spending 2 games rooted to the bench. I mean, he was given half an hour in the Champions League win over Bologna, I guess, but I think it's obvious Emery doesn't like him. Come on, Emiliano Buendia is getting more game time. And he was such an outcast at this club that he almost wound up on loan at Leeds. So for an apparent generational superstar like Sancho to be getting less minutes than him, it's about as embarrassing as me having to beg strangers at Aldi if they can buy me broccoli for lunch. Bournemouth, Julian Araujo. Yeah. He is toast. Julian Araujo must feel the absolute twinge of embarrassment, considering 2 years ago, this Mexico international right back was getting snatched out of LA Galaxy by actual Barcelona. Yeah, it's now 2025 and he's lucky if he gets asked to sit on Bournemouth's bench. And Noni Iraola has only given him a minute so far. So yeah, for somebody who is at one of the biggest clubs in the world to not even get a look in a seaside village retirement home, where most of the fan base's biggest worry is whether or not the doctor will have cold fingers for their prostate exam on Monday, then yeah, this is a crashing fall back down to earth. Brentford, Anthony Malambo. I spoke about Sancho a minute ago, but I reckon Anthony Malambo is the biggest example of a new signing who the manager has already regretted buying. Malambo is a hefty £16 million buy from Feyenoord. He is a juicy attacking midfielder, somebody who was playing in the Europa Conference League at 16. Seriously, he was the Dutch Rio Ngamoa, and yet now he's desperately searching for the approval of a manager who recently failed a job interview at MK Dons. Malambo was dragged off at halftime in the opening day defeat at Nottingham Forest, and he has not been seen since, just eating ice cream on the bench, as Keith Andrews has shortly decided that he trusts him less than he trusts a drunk bus driver. Brighton, Jason Steele. I feel a little bad for Jason Steele because he was having the mother of all career revivals in goal. After being a laughable lower league journeyman joke, seriously, I think I remember this guy being a punchline in the Sunderland Netflix doc. Yeah, he winds up at Brighton and shows that he's actually able to use his feet. And so De Zerbi used to rotate his keepers every month. Look at this. It looks like somebody's gym routine. 2 days on, 2 days off. He was trusted with big European nights against Marseille, Ajax and Roma. But then Herzler comes in and ruins ruins all the fun, because Steele now has not been seen in over a year, which feels harsh considering his last match came in a win over Manchester United. But now, Hurstler has decided that Verbruggen is his number one, an untouchable number one. Seriously, Jason must take Bart more than Sideshow Bob. Burnley, Lucas Pires. Just a Burnley left back that doesn't play. Next, Chelsea, Raheem Sterling. Okay, this is the biggest example of a player so frozen out, he's probably growing popsicles on his face. Poor old Raheem Sterling. Over a year ago, he was releasing statements saying that he was quietly outraged to be left out of a Chelsea matchday squad. But it's okay, because a megastar like him just dusted himself down and got an outrageously good loan switch to an even better team in Arsenal. But that loan seems to have crushed his spirit, because he flopped harder than the jab of the hood on a trampoline. He's fully now just accepted that at the age of 30, that football is not for him, so he's just gonna sit tight and still earn close to £400,000 a week just to train with the kids. It's quite bizarre, actually, because he was playing elite men's football as a kid, and now he is the sloppy old man boomer unk, struggling to make small talk with the 17-year-olds about Snapchat, acne, and Jake Paul fights. He was apparently offered a move to Juventus and said no, because he wants to sit tight in London and be close to his kids. Sorry, but I mean, since quitting QPR as a child, he could have had a CV featuring Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Juventus. That is an Anelka CV, without the grimy stints of Bolton, West Brom, and Shanghai Shenhua, which are kind of like cigarette burns of the Mona Lisa. Sterling could have had one of the most attractive and aesthetically pleasing looking CVs in the world if he'd just chosen to go to the old lady. But now he's just choosing to remain in London with children, and he's not going to play a single minute of football in a World Cup year. We're now at a stage where Thomas Tuchel is far more likely to pick Dean Windas's son in his England squad than Raheem Sterling. It's crazy. And lads, Tuchel is someone who bought Sterling to Chelsea. It's crazy. Crystal Palace, Roman Esse. Okay, after selling Eze, you would assume that Crystal Palace already have a ready-made replacement in Esse, right? I mean, come on, even their names are practically identical. Boy, wouldn't that be confusing for the fans? A bit like when Fulham back in 2004 replaced John Collins with Collins John. But yes, Roman Esse, a young playmaker bought from Millwall, was given 24 minutes off the bench against Forest, and that's it. No other minutes, as Oliver Glasner decided that the 20-year-old is about as much use as a gingerbread man dipped in wine. No thanks. Everton, Dwight McNeil. Wow, I had no clue that David Moyes really hated the side of Dwight McNeil this much. This 25-year-old is an old-school, old-fashioned, cross-it-in winger who has actually been a frightening, ever-present in this league for yonks. Between 2019 and 2024, he only missed 7 games of Premier League football for Burnley and Everton. Sure, his end product has at times looked like monkey vomit, especially considering 5 years ago he was actually linked with a £50 million return to Manchester United. But his fitness levels, though, is amazing. It's like Frank Lampard levels of keeping your body healthy, which is really not bad considering he looks like he's built like one of the Muppets. His attendance record in this league has been incredible, and Sean Dyche looked like he would sooner eat his own fingers in a pie than drop McNeil, so it must be really strange and confusing for Dwight to have missed a chunk of last season through a knee injury, and now, this season, he's got just 19 minutes of football under his belt. David Moyes has made him rot on the bench for 6 full games this season. It's like the class nerd with the perfect attendance record at school, now being told to stay at home during exam season, banished to watching Peppa Pig on the couch. Seriously, Dwight McNeil was the Hermione of the Premier League. He never missed a minute. He is used to being the manager's pet, so to be now given the cold shoulder by Moyes, he must be more confused than me when I heard they were making a Simpsons movie sequel, when Marge now sounds like she's voiced by a toaster. Just let the poor actress retire in peace. Fulham, Issa Diop. You know what's insane? I remember when French centre-back Issa Diop was once linked with a £75 million switch from West Ham to Man United, a month before Harry Maguire was bought. I mean, H-Mags has been a complete buffoon at times, but make no mistake about it, Diop would have probably been worse, because Diop is now 28, and is now lucky to even be asked by Marco Silva to sit on the Fulham bench. Look, I might be being mean, because he's not a complete donut of a centre-back. He used to be briefly top class at West Ham, and last season he did start 8 league games in a row, failing to lose a single one before Christmas. He was unlucky to be dropped by Fulham after that, but yeah, no. Nowadays, he's absolutely a frozen turkey underneath the fridge. Leeds, Yakabiol. Yeah, Yakabiol was one of the more exciting newbie transfers that Leeds United fans were squealing about on Twitter, right? A £15 million buy from Udinese, but the centre-back has not been used yet. Not even once, not even a single minute on the pitch. Still waiting for his Premier League debut. Did Daniel Farke really spend all that much money just to leave him on the bench? Bit weird, no? Liverpool, Wataru Endo. Does Wataru Endo care that Arne Slot doesn't rate him? Right now, Liverpool fans are asking the question, why does the manager not trust Federico Chiesa? But lads, think about it. The Italians had way more minutes this season than anyone would have ever thought. He plays pretty much every week. No, the one player who's out in the cold is Japan captain Wataru Endo, who's played 2 minutes since the opening night of the season, fully rotting on the bench each and every week. If I'm Endo's agent, then in a World Cup year, I'm screaming down the phone to the 32-year-old to wake up and give up on his Anfield dream, because the manager clearly thinks you're no better than a burnt sausage roll. Man City, James Trafford. This one just feels mean. James Trafford, after clearly having Newcastle United on the brain for months. Oh, no. This Burnley star goalie gets wind of the fact that Man City want him back, and that Ederson was getting shoved in an envelope and mailed off to Turkey. Lads, Trafford is someone who quit Man City for game time once before when he left them for Burnley. So for him to do the reverse switch is only if they promised him game time, right? And he gets given the Man City #1 shirt. He starts the first 3 Premier League games. Ederson leaves. But then City get Donnarumma, and he hasn't been seen since. Now, look, I don't think a move to Newcastle would worked out any better for his short-term England chances. I mean, look at Aaron Ramsdale. Trafford would probably also have been sitting on the St. James's Park bench and wishing that Pope would choke on a poison McFlurry. But in the long term, absolutely, he's 10 years younger than Pope. But Donnarumma, he's only 26. Baby years for a goalie. Even though he really does look like a middle-aged dad of 4. But seriously, JT, this feels very mean. Man United, Kobbie Mainoo. It's not really frozen out, because Kobbie Mainoo is still getting minutes, but just not anywhere near enough. Don't forget, Mainoo was such a breakout teenage midfield sensation for Man United a year ago, that to such an extent that he's actually starting every single knockout match for England at Euro 2020, including the final. Nah, I know Calvin Phillips once did that, and he's now a completely forgotten potato, but no, Mainoo was class. He scored the winner in the FA Cup final, and now he's still waiting for his first Premier League start since May. Look, I don't think this is all on Ruben Amorim being a mean little pig, no. Because let's be honest here, of the last 11 league games that Mainoo has started for Manchester United, and the team's only collected 5 points. He's lost 8 of them. And he did also start in the Grimsby nightmare too. That is a horrible record. So maybe Amorim, if you were to challenge him on not picking this little boy, he would absolutely come back with receipts. But still, for a player barely out of his teens, Manchester United should be thinking how to build a system to get the best out of Kobbie, not just put him in midfield too. He's out in the cold so much. In August, he literally asked to leave his boyhood club on loan. Something Lewis Smiley apparently did at Newcastle too when he wanted to go to Ipswich. These two are in very similar situations, homegrown midfielders who aren't getting the minutes they want. So I find it even weirder that Newcastle were then linked with taking Mainoo. Oh, it's very strange. Just pick Miley. Newcastle Park Sung-soo. Okay, I shouldn't really be shocked by this at all. But hey, teenage winger Park Sung-soo was signed in the summer. And lads, this winger impressed in pre-season, but so far, no minutes, and has only made the bench once. People want to say, oh, he was only signed to sell shirts. But no, lads, he looked really promising in pre-season. He looked really good. But now, he's not even getting regular starts for the under-19s. Justice for Park Sung-soo, right? No one cares. Nottingham Forest, Ryan Yates. Yeah, we finally reached the end of the line for Ryan Yates. Yeah, I was wondering how long this homegrown star could survive in the Nottingham Forest first team before being squeezed out of it. I feel like how Sean Longstaff did really well the last 4 years at Newcastle after the takeover. Yeah, I mean, similarly, we're now finally seeing the Forest captain Yates now having his career slowly melted in a puddle of gooey pancakes. No starts this season, just 6 minutes against Brentford, 2 minutes against Crystal Palace, a generous 17 minutes against Arsenal, but then just 8 minutes against Real Betis. I feel bad for the guy. This is someone who absolutely loves Forest, but especially Ange Postecoglou has decided that he's no better than a bag of squashed bananas. Sunderland, Dan Neil. I feel sorry for Dan Neil. This is the most agonizing example of a player being frozen out this season. I mean, let's be real. The team who got Sunderland promoted has been buried at the beach because barely of their championship stars get to play now. But the homegrown Dan Neil has been done dirtier than any of Brad Pitt's ex-wives. If you just pause this young man's life in May, then lad, for a local boy who joined Sunderland in 2010 at the age of 8, to have just soaked up nearly 200 games for the club in just 4 seasons, helping them get promoted twice. He was eagerly looking forward to captaining his club in the top flight. A dream. Oh, guess what? He then gets linked with Roma. Seriously, back in May, he was apparently lined up for a £15 million switch to Syria, but nothing materializes, and get this, the captain's armband that gets stripped from him. Lads, is there any example of a promotion-winning captain immediately having the armband taken away from them like that, and especially given to a new signing? It's so harsh. We're now nearly 2 months into the season, and his dream Premier League career stands at just 1 minute on the pitch. Seriously, 1 minute against Aston Villa. 60 seconds. This must feel so horrible. He's been replaced by someone who last year was nominated for a Ballon d'Or. This is so harsh for Dan Neil. Tottenham Yves Bissouma. Oh, Thomas Frank hates Yves Bissouma. Seriously, he has been sterling at Spurs. Left out of the Super Cup against PSG because of late timekeeping, and the Malian international has not been seen since, and he's out of contract this summer, and he apparently has Postecoglou sniffing around bringing him to Forest. I wouldn't be shocked this guy never plays for Tottenham again. It is a complete mess. West Ham, Jean-Claire Todibo. Look, I know Jean-Claire Todibo has brought this on himself by being absolutely average in a West Ham shirt, but don't forget the Frenchman was one of the most in-demand centre-backs in Europe at Nice. But he gets dragged off at half-time in the horror show defeat at home to Chelsea, and he hasn't played since, and he's been left out of 2 matchday squads, including, worryingly, one by newbie boss Nuno Santo. Lads, this is somebody who was once seen as a potential Manchester United buy. Somebody who once tricked Barcelona into paying his wages. So to be 25 years old and be getting slowly frozen out by a pretty rubbish West Ham. Wow, that's crazy. Wolves, nobody. Yeah, no one's actually getting frozen out at Wolves. So, well done, Wolves. Anyway, that's the interview. Let me know, what do you think? Let me know, who do you think has been unfairly frozen out? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and I'll talk to you in a while.